Hi, I'm Ron. This is Ruth Igigian. We live in Yorba Linda, California. We're here talking because we had Richard Lewis as our contractor. We didn't see him for the architectural part, but that was a mistake we made. It would have been better if we would have gone with him. Our house is about 1,600 feet before he came and started doing the work, and when he finished, we added on just under 1,200 square feet. It was a much bigger job than we ever thought it would be. We had to do a lot of geologic work because we went over a certain number of square feet. We're here really because we really appreciated all that he did for us. He did an incredible job. I met with him in the beginning. I had gotten in a couple of bids. The other bid was from a close friend, and I thought they'd be much closer, but Richard's was almost half of what my other friend was. And when I sat down with Richard, we talked about all the different parts. He suggested a number of things that at first I said, no, I don't think we're going to do this. But later on, I would come to him and say, you know, I realized that now is the time to do it. And he was always very helpful. I always waited for the boom to fall. I thought that when you add it later, you know, the price is going to be double. But he was always very reasonable. Before we started, we went over the payment plan. And as we looked at the payment plan, I was hoping to have a little more of a chunk at the end. And he was really, really cooperative, reasonable. He explained the places where he had to pay his people. Anyway, as we went into the construction, it started out in the summer. I'm a school teacher, and so I was here a good part of the time. But everything that we did was always on time. He was here often. If he wasn't, I knew he wasn't going to be here. All of his people who worked for him, I felt very comfortable with. My wife felt very comfortable with them. And all the work they did was just fantastic. We were very, very pleased with all that they had done right up to the end. There were some things I asked Richard if I could do, just because I like to have my hand on a little bit of it. I don't want to just have people work for me and I don't do anything. And he allowed me to do that, and he was very patient with me. I have nothing but positive things to say about Richard Lewis. He's an awesome person. He's honest. He's trustworthy. I had no doubt that what we were having done was being done correctly, and all of our people did well. The only problem we had at the very end had nothing to do with him. It was the people. There were the groups that I was allowed to go and contract on my own, and some of those problems are still there. And honestly, if I had it to do over, I would have had him do all of it, even if it cost a little bit more. Every time I've had a problem, I had a question at the end, I'd call him. It could be weeks later, and he was always right back over, and he took care of what it was. So I really appreciate it, and this is just a way of saying thank you. Thank you. This is my wife. She has some things to say, I think.
Hi, my name is Ruth, and I can tell you a little bit of the women's side of it. I'm an instructor, a teacher, and I teach at a community college, and I do really well when it comes to teaching, but when it comes to thinking about what it is that I want done in my house, I had zero experience, and I'm not creative. I'm creative in my teaching, but I am not one of these people that can put the colors together or even knowing what it is that I want done. And so the challenge for me coming in was, what is it going to look like? Because if I was going to rely on my ability or my insight or my gifting, it wasn't there. You would think normally a woman knows exactly what they want. You know, I didn't. And so one of the things that I found with Richard is that he really helped me through the process. We were building a room addition to house our parents, to house my parents actually. They're in their 80s, and so we had to think about things that were not necessarily just for us or for our two children or even for our grandchildren, but for them. Things that had to do with them being handicapped and needing things to be a certain way. So we're not just planning for a couple or a family, we're planning for senior citizens. And so through the process, Richard made it very, very positive and helped me walk through it, giving me ideas of things that we could do that were not just going to be good for us, but for everybody. As a result, we're very happy with what we have. I mean, this kitchen is great. It has, we can entertain, we can have our family over, we can have our friends over. Super Bowl, there's room for people to move around. Anybody that comes into our house their comments are, wow. People would say to us, aren't you having any issues? Like, your contractor, you know? Well, we like our contractor. We like him. He took us to his home and he showed us things that were possibilities. He opened his home to us and said, maybe you could do this. Oh, this is a great idea. Even the washroom, all of that came from, right? Yeah. His wife opened their home to us so that we could get ideas. And I'm very, very thankful, really thankful. And we have called him, like Ron says, for things that other people did. And he has always returned our call. The crew that he contracted also were wonderful. They were men who I felt comfortable having in my house. I mean, they were with us for a while, you know, as they were doing it. And I remember looking out of this window and they would say to me, good morning, Mrs. Ruth. And it was like, I have people in the backyard. But we're very gracious, and we would have lunch together with them. As a woman, I never felt that I was not safe with the people that he picked. And his son, Richie, was also amazing. Very kind, very courteous. I don't know what else I can say.
Richie's salsa was awesome.
Yeah.
Everything you see has just been wonderful. And you don't see a lot. If you went into our washroom, something that I've always struggled with in every house we've had is phone lines. And I always have to go up in the attic to fix them or under the house. And he showed me at his house, he had a panel in the laundry room. And so I set it up the same way. I have all our cable and our phone, where I just walk into a room, open the panel, and I can make it so there's two homes or two phones in the house or one phone. I can switch cable around. Little things that you don't think about. He has a lot of insight. But again, he doesn't charge you, ridiculously. It's just phenomenal. And we so appreciate just all the time that he put into our home. He made it really good. And my in-laws came in, and there were times when they had some things that they were thinking, well, gee, we'd really like, the closet to look this way. And he didn't just make it look that way. He also was adding things that we were surprised with. We didn't even know they were going to include. So we were very pleased. Everything was above and beyond what we expected.
One of the things that, of course, is unexpected is that people get cancer. After we did the room addition, my parents decided they wanted to retire in Argentina. And that's where I was born. And shortly after they left, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, which was a very traumatic and challenging experience. And I'm bringing this to tell you that while my parents lived in the room that that was designed for them, I ended up moving into that side of the house, and I was there through my chemo, as far as that's pretty much where I lived. Yeah. And being in that room, I was so appreciative, because first my parents had lived there, and of course I'd go and hang out. But being there in my bed for like 6 months, I went through my chemo, even that the way that room was made and how comfortable I was, I didn't even have to come to the rest of the house because I had everything I needed in that room. So, and all of this to say that through the different seasons that we have been with Richard, as he's seen us in the planning, with us living here, with my parents having moved, and with me going through what I did, we could not have asked for a better person to walk it with us.
Definitely. So we wish you luck.
Yes, and you can always come and
Take a
talk,
look.
take a look.
Sure.
Just give me a little bit of time because I do stress. I am not one of these people that you could just drop in, right?
No.
Never have been. We've been married 36 years. We have two daughters, two son-in-laws, and 3 granddaughters, and maybe just the girls can just drop in, right?
Anytime.
That's about it.